This week we are showing you how to make some alcohol and ink drawings or paintings. You will need some different coloured drawing inks, some rubbing alcohol, some different sized paintbrushes and some glossy photograph paper. So I'm just starting by applying some ink to the glossy photograph paper and I'm adding some water over the top. Just using a very small paintbrush, you can add some rubbing alcohol over the top of the ink and the water and you will start to see a nice kind of marbled separation effect. You can move this around manually or you can use a heat gun or a hairdryer just to kind of move the ink around and create some different effects on the paper. You can also add some different colours over the top of the ink. I'm using some green and yellow here just to add a bit of depth and dimension. Just adding some more water and some more alcohol to the top of the ink. You can move this around manually again, or you can use your hairdryer or heat gun to blow this around in different directions and kind of create that sort of splattered effect. And you can see that the photo paper really kind of picked up on those nice kind of ring markings around where the ink is. You can experiment as much as you like with layering with this as well. You can keep adding lots of colours over the top or you can leave it quite minimal. So as you can see here, some of the markings are sort of left from the initial ink that I put on. Here I've put some water onto the surface first and then I put some ink on afterwards, so you can see that the ink kind of blurs over the water, and then as you add the alcohol it creates that nice marbled effect which you can accentuate with the heat gun or the hairdryer. And again with this piece I just started to layer some of the ink on top. I personally found a lot of the darker inks worked really well with the photograph paper, so a lot of the darker blues and blacks worked really well and gave it a really lovely technique. Here I started using some of the black ink along with some water and a few drops of the alcohol ink. Firstly just moving around the ink and the water and kind of splatting the ink as I wanted around the page. And then once you start adding the alcohol it creates that lovely marbled effect again. This is something you can do without using a heat gun or a hairdryer. You can just let it dry as it is and it does create some really lovely effects. And this is the second attempt that I did in a similar way where I just moved the ink around with a little bit of water on the paintbrush. And you can see some of the effects that it creates with the alcohol. So I hope you have a lot of fun using this technique at home, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.